The NFL is an ever-changing league where players become stars seemingly overnight and where players seemingly go from stardom to a shell of their former selves in the course of one off-season. Because of this, we often get caught up in the hype and don't really realize what we have in the heat of the moment. In today's video, we're going to discuss some things that I think we, as NFL fans, need to realize before it's too late or before we take it for granted. Some will be more obvious than others, and some you may not even realize yourself. This is a change of pace type video, as I usually don't do topics like this too often, and I'm really excited to dive into it. But before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now let's begin. The first realization we have just a few weeks into the year is Josh Allen is playing at an MVP level. In normal years, he very well could be the frontrunner, as his team is 3-0 and he has 10 touchdowns in the first 3 games. This means he is on pace for over 50 passing touchdowns and, most importantly to Bills Mafia, 16 wins. Playing at MVP level doesn't mean he will win the MVP though, as Russell Wilson is playing above that, as he has an NFL record 14 touchdowns through 3 games. Josh shouldn't get lost in the mix due to Russ or Mahomes and should be acknowledged for the elite season he is having. And that is the goal for today's video, is to bring respect towards player seasons that they are currently having. Now Josh does get a lot of respect from around the NFL, and deservedly so. With how the Ravens played Monday night, the Bills very well could be a top 2 seed in the AFC when it's all said and done, and it will be very interesting to see how it all plays out. And this is a little spin-off on the Bills here while we are discussing them, but Stefon Diggs and John Brown are very quietly one of the best receiving duos in the entire NFL. I'm not getting into rankings, but I will say who they are better than, and it may upset some people because of the name value, and that's Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. John Brown had just 2 targets in Sunday's win over the Rams before leaving with a calf injury and recorded 0 catches. So with him only having numbers from 2 games, John Brown has more receiving yards than Jarvis does through 3, and only 3 less yards than Odell Beckham has through 3 games. Stefon is of course leaps and bounds above those guys, and Diggsy and John Brown are quietly one of the best duos in the entire NFL. And when I say Diggsy is leaps and bounds above them, I meant statistically, not necessarily talent-wise. And the next observation through a few games is Joe Burrow is good and the hype is real. He has 5 passing touchdowns through the first few weeks, and in back-to-back weeks has thrown for over 300 yards and multiple touchdowns. With as much hype as there was surrounding him coming out of LSU with the Heisman Trophy, the National Championship, and the 60-touchdown season, it would have been incredibly difficult for Burrow to live up to the hype, and understandably so. He should have started his career out with a win or at least an overtime duel with the Chargers, but as we know, Randy Bullock missed a field goal. Anyways, the Burrow hype is real, and for a team and its fans that's had to cheer on Andy Dalton for the past decade, this has to be refreshing to see. Burrow to Tyler Boyd has been a great connection, and it looks to be a solid one for the future, as he has back-to-back 1,000-yard years and very much looks to be on his way to another. In the last 2 games, Boyd has 17 catches for 197 yards and a touchdown, and while the wins aren't expected for Cincinnati, as they are in the middle of a rebuild, there are things to build on and look forward to, and this is certainly one of them. Now, as much as I've praised them so far, the only thing that is truly concerning for Bengals fans is how much Joe Burrow has been hit in the first few weeks. Their offensive line simply can't keep letting him get hit the way he is, otherwise he will have a very short career and a David Carr type career at that. Burrow was hit 18 times on Sunday against the Eagles, and over the course of the season, that's 288 times, which is nearly as many as a running back, in some cases probably more than a running back. Obviously 18 will be an outlier during the season, but that simply can't happen if Burrow is the long-term answer, which at this point I believe he is. The observation is Burrow has been great, but the Bengals need to keep him healthy or he will have a very short career. The next realization through a few games is, and whether this is fair or not, but the Sam Darnold era as the starter for the Jets may be coming to a close a lot quicker than people realize. When you take a look at the Jets roster, it's not hard to figure out why they're 0-3 and why all of their losses are by double digits. They're a horrendous football team and have an abysmal head coach, and when you combine those 2 things, this may come as a surprise, sarcasm obviously, but they are winless. And if you guys are a fan of my channel, then you know I actively support Sam on Twitter because he has had the odds stacked against him in every way, shape, and form since entering the league in 2018. As you'll see on the screen now, here there were targets he threw to in an actual NFL game in 2020. Braxton Berrios, Kalen Ballage, and Lawrence Cager, who admittedly I hadn't heard of till Sunday, were his 3 leading receivers. There's absolutely no wonder why Sam Darnold is struggling, and when you combine a terrible head coach with terrible receivers, it leads to the career he's had. He may be out after this year though, as they will surely be picking in the top 5, and if Trevor Lawrence is there, or Justin Fields or Trey Lance for that matter, which one of them will surely be no matter when the Jets pick, General Manager Joe Douglas can very well pick the quarterback he wants to go to battle with. Darnold isn't his guy, and his job doesn't ride or die on his success, and because of that, Darnold may be the odd man out. What I would love for the Jets to do is acquire as many picks as they can and rebuild their roster, because this isn't a team that's 1 or 2 pieces away from contending. It's about as far away as a team can possibly get from contending, and because of that, I would love to see them acquire as many assets as they can and try and pull off a Rams RG3 type trade. And if you're wondering why they do that if Trevor Lawrence is there, which would be a feasible question, that would be because they shouldn't do the exact same thing to him with what they did to Darnold. The good news for Sam is after this year, his career is completely salvageable as he will be just 24 next year, and with teams like the Steelers, the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons, all with aging quarterbacks, Sam could have new life to what so far has been a very forgettable career. And next we go to Baltimore to discuss the Ravens and how they played Monday night. They underperformed in every sense, and Lamar Jackson had less than 100 yards passing, which was abysmal. While they did underperform in all of the teams it could have been against, they are going to be fine. Lamar is 21-1 as a starter when not playing the Chiefs, and his only other loss was to the Browns in a game where they put up 40 points. Now, is there reason for Ravens fans and for the media to be a little concerned losing to Mahomes and the gang by 2 touchdowns? Yes, there is reason, but they will be fine as their defense is great, they have the reigning MVP, and they have a phenomenal running back committee. The only problem with the Ravens, and we saw this Monday, is they aren't a team that's built to come from behind. Their receivers aren't bad by any means, but they aren't the weapons Mahomes has either. The Chiefs, for example, are built to come from behind, as they have playmakers everywhere and genuinely cause fear in opposing teams. The difference is Baltimore may be the best running team in the NFL, but they are not the best passing team in the NFL. The Chiefs kept them incredibly off balance on Monday night, and it showed, and they had an outstanding game plan. The biggest takeaway is that it's one game, and the Ravens are going to be fine. If these teams play again, which I hope they do, the result may be the same with the Chiefs winning, not necessarily the multiple scores, but I can assure you the Ravens won't look as flat and as lifeless as they did on Monday night. And we wrap today's video up with the final realization that Patrick Mahomes is the Michael Jordan of our generation. MJ is often referred to as the GOAT, and understandably so. He's a 6-time champion, a 6-time Finals MVP, and a 10-time scoring champion. While Patrick has a long way to go to get there, especially from an accolade standpoint, he has the talent to do so. And the GOAT debate in football usually starts and ends with Tom Brady, as he is the most accomplished football player ever. Now, if you think he's the most talented, that is a different debate, but most accomplished is certainly not. 6 rings, 4 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 regular season MVPs, and over 540 touchdowns speak for themselves. But I will say this, and if it offends you, it shouldn't, because this is the truth. Patrick Mahomes right now in 2020 is more talented than Tom Brady ever was. Now, will Patrick ever achieve what Tom has is lofty expectations, and he has a long way to go to do that, but the talent is there. Now, for the MJ comparison, Michael is well known for his mindset and his determination to win, and Patrick is getting there. People talk about the dog mentality and the take no prisoners mentality, and they refer to players like, and may he rest in peace, Kobe and MJ, and understandably so. But the other night, when Mahomes was feasting on one of the best defenses the NFL has to offer in the Baltimore Ravens, they didn't remotely faze him. 385 yards and 4 touchdowns later. Michael Jordan is talked about in the sense of he would find a game within a game to keep him motivated and interested, and the other night Patrick counted to 4 and did the shrug like MJ did in the 92 finals in reference to his ranking on the 2020 NFL Players Top 100. This is the same type of mentality MJ had, where people and media members would constantly try and compare him to, and MJ absolutely loved to take that into the next game, score 35 in the first half, and basically stick his tongue out at your entire organization. We have that same type of hostile mentality with Patrick, and as NFL fans, I like to say, we love to see it. Now, we probably won't get the legendary stories with Patrick like we did with Michael, with punching a teammate in the face in practice like he did with Steve Kerr, or flipping a training table over like he did with Scott Burrell. but the same type of mentality is there, and with Patrick only being 25 years old, who knows what he can accomplish. He is, and I will say this for the rest of time, but a D Ford offsides penalty away from being a two-time champion and a two-time Super Bowl MVP at the age of 25. Yes, the Rams beat them earlier in the regular season, but I 100% think no matter what, the Chiefs would have came back and won it all when it mattered. And that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. This is just personal, but I do want to say as a Vikings fan and more so an NFC Teams fan, where my team only plays them once every 4 years, I am absolutely ecstatic. I don't have to worry about this guy or hate him like some Ravens fans do because he beats them all the time, because Patrick is one of the most entertaining players the NFL has ever had to watch. There's only one thing that can stop him from being one of the all-time greats, and that of course is injury. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps a ton. If you ever have a video suggestion, please let me know, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.